Ask the Experts radio show. Join my co-host Renee and I every Friday as we interview some of the most prominent professionals in Palm Beach and Broward County. Each week we combine educational information on a variety of topics with a touch of humor and entertainment in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement so you can be more informed. We offer interviews on such topics as family law, foreclosure defense, estate planning, sleep apnea, roof repair, funeral pre-needs, mold and mildew, alcoholism addiction, and even a show that teaches you how to buy a new and used car from one of the top dealerships in South Florida. If you have a business and would like to be part of the Ask the Expert show, contact us at 954-336-3767. Position your company as an expert in your field. Call Ask the Experts radio show at 954-336-3767. Be sure to catch our show every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. or watch our show live at wwnnradio.com and click on the WWNN TV link.
Unity Recovery Group specializes in helping people who are struggling with and feel trapped by the only disease that tells you you don't have one. They deliver industry-leading holistic therapies in a clean environment and help real people discover the distress and trauma contributing to their addictions. They provide powerful tools to help recovering addicts manage life challenges and win their battle with substance abuse. Many of Unity Recovery Group's clients arrive at a crossroads in their lives. Some have gone through their unsuccessful and disheartening attempts at recovery. But for all of them, Unity is a place where they can honor a promise they made to themselves to take responsibility for their futures. If you or any family member are struggling with addiction, call Unity Recovery Group at 855-730-4355 or go to their website at unityrecoveryrehab.com. Learn how to love life again without the crutch of substance abuse. No two patients' addictions are alike, so individualized treatment is crucial. Let Unity Recovery Group show you why they are one of the most trusted and caring providers of addiction recovery treatments. Call them today at 855-730-4355. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity hosts Steve-O and Renee. Sit back each week while Steve-O and Renee educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O and Renee with today's expert in their field.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Ask the Experts. I'm sitting here looking at Renee right now because...
And why are you looking at me? Because you have no choice.
Well, yeah, I do. I can
look at the ceiling.
I can look at the ceiling, count dots, do dot to dot on the ceiling.
Count the squares, right.
Absolutely. But see, sometimes when it's live radio and we are all about guests, that's all we do is have guests. We have
experts in the fields.
And sometimes the experts run into traffic. I mean, it happens to all of us.
Or they have a flat tire.
We've had flat tire.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right? A whale swallowed somebody. I mean, we just get all kinds of excuses here. But we have two great shows today. Unbelievable shows today. We have our first show. This show right here is going to be on addictions. And our second show is on criminal law. They kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, they kind of do.
They intertwine.
Listen, and do you know we had a write-up about our show? It was like in one of those little forum papers. I didn't even tell you about that.
That's very nice.
Well, I mean, that's pretty nice. We made forum, okay? They were saying how educational our show is, and how they enjoyed listening to our show.
And you're first sharing this with me now?
Well, I kept waiting for the punchline, the but it never got there.
There wasn't a but.
Yeah, they really liked our show.
That's wonderful.
So now we know we have at least one person listening to us.
We have at least one listener.
Oh, man, I've got my family, all two of them listening to the show. And you've got your sister listening to the show. But
always.
For those who've just tuned in for the first time,
and don't turn the dial.
Yeah, because we need you. Our two people, we need you. No, we've actually got a lot of people who listen to our show.
No, I know that.
Our numbers are really doing well. So today with the addiction show, and we've got a big honcho coming in. But
From Unity Recovery.
yeah, but what's so neat about our show, you could actually watch our show right now live by going to www.wwnnradio.com.
And you can leave all those W's off
I know that, but I just do it to
just
irk
to
you.
confuse everybody,
No, I don't want to
to
confuse you.
annoy me.
Exactly.
Figured.
Did you take your annoying pill today?
Not yet.
So you can actually watch our show when you go to WWNN's radio's homepage. On the left-hand side, you'll see it says
WNN TV. Yes, you just
TV.
click there,
Click
and there we are, live
You
and in
can
person.
see the beautiful, the gorgeous
Oh, stop
Renee.
sucking up.
I have to. I need a ride home. I need dinner tonight.
Dinner's out.
But anyway, what I was going to tell everybody is our show is we bring in experts from all over South Florida in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. And I'm telling you, I am so proud.
And we've had the best of the best.
Oh my gosh, I know. We have the most incredible experts. Our show has grown from Fridays to Mondays now. And just today, we signed a new employment attorney, Mark Berkowitz. I wonder if his dad is Mr. Berkowitz.
I would think so.
Okay, so maybe I probably know his dad. So he just signed with us today, and we've got some just neat people coming on. On Monday, we have an attorney who's a public adjuster.
Right. And the second half hour, we have Michael Leader from Leader and
That's
Leader.
today,
One of the
yes.
top criminal attorneys here in South Florida.
We're going to be talking about DUI law.
Yes, and especially now with the holidays coming up and
Yeah, you drinkers out
Thanksgiving,
there.
Christmas. I mean, this is just, well, there's a lot of police stops. They do a lot of road traps.
How do
They
you know?
do. Because I've seen it driving.
I thought you got pulled over or
No, never. Thank God. And if I did, I would call Michael Leader before I did
Exactly.
anything.
He is so good. I tell you what.
Now I'm not
just-
even afraid of anything because I know I could call Michael Leader.
Do you know if and it's not just DUI that he handles?
And our guest is here, by the way.
Well, I'm kind of like doing my show myself now. Wait a minute. But Michael, I mean, this is amazing. We're doing a addiction show, and then right after we have a DUI show. I mean, we just give a little bit of everything.
Just scoot next to Steven.
Excuse me. You know, I get nervous around people.
Talk right into the mic.
So, hey, our guest is here.
Okay, so would you like to introduce her?
Renee, I was like telling you about when I was a little kid growing up. Are you going to like go in the middle of that? Anyhow, we want to welcome Candace Rasa.
Rasa, that's it.
I did. Me.
From
Steve-O
Unity
did it right.
Recovery. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Tell everybody you found it okay, I see.
Yeah.
She is the clinical director. So tell us what you handle.
So I work with a team of therapists and case managers, and we work with clients at the last level of care. It's called intensive outpatient, and clients come there to kind of be part-time in treatment and part-time in the real world. So getting
So
a
this
job.
is once they've finished their program.
Correct.
And they're leaving.
Correct. And it's
Okay.
actually another type of program that's specifically geared towards independence.
Wonderful.
You know, I want to back up a little bit because I know, with as big as our audience is, that there's somebody out there who either has a friend
or a family member,
family
yes,
member.
with an addiction problem.
Yes.
with an addiction problem. And listen, this whole show is about getting out great educational information. And today, hopefully, if we just touch one person, that's all that matters, just one person.
So tell everybody a little background about Unity.
So Unity Recovery Center is a wonderful place. It's in North Palm is some of our programs. We also have a Hope Sound location and one in Port St. Lucie. And we serve clients who are struggling with addiction, adult clients. We serve them through a detox center so they can come in and detox off of medications. They can
So is it an inpatient facility?
Yes, an inpatient drug rehab program based in Palm Beach County.
But it's not just, you don't just accept people from Palm Beach County, though, do you? I mean, if someone
No.
has a problem in Broward or Dade and they want to come to your facility.
Correct. In fact, many of our clients are not from that area. They're actually from out of state in the Northeast.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I actually know the answer to this because we work with a lot of addiction centers across the country with our other shows. Tell people why somebody in New Jersey would come to Florida. Because there's a reason for that.
Yeah, so Florida has some interesting laws associated with the insurance companies, and in such a way where clients coming from out of state can maximize insurance benefits in Florida more so than in their home state. So they can actually get more treatment
Oh, that's
and longer
interesting.
treatment. So, yes.
So
Yes.
it's worthwhile traveling
And I've
here.
actually had some family members who said, I need to get my son or daughter out of the city, out of the state, away from some people that were not good role models.
Well, you want to separate them from the problems.
And that's another, I think, great benefit to Unity is that you can actually take people out of the environment that is really challenging for them and immerse them in like a sober community. So that's really a great part of the program also.
Right, absolutely.
So, how do you get someone to admit they have an addiction problem? Because most of them will say, oh, I don't have a problem. And from the outside, we know they do. How do you get someone to admit that, first of all?
Yeah, that's a really difficult question. I think that most times we help people to identify the consequences that they're experiencing. And by doing so, kind of in a roundabout way, help them identify that they have a problem. Most folks who enter treatment aren't necessarily 100% ready to be in treatment for a lot of reasons. So that denial piece is very strong. But, you know, it's...
Well, they probably don't want to admit that they have a problem.
Exactly. And they're sometimes angry
Right.
that they're here. And so we have to walk that delicate balance of providing love and support to them while also being really honest about their life path and where it's led them.
What types of addictions do you treat?
We treat all kinds of addictions. So alcohol, opiate use, marijuana, cocaine addiction, benzo addiction, so the prescription medication, that kind of thing. We also treat clients with other addictive issues like compulsive gambling and sex addiction and trauma and things like that.
So you cover the complete gamut.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay, good.
So what's the difference between drug dependence and drug abuse?
Great question. So drug abuse is someone is chronically using a drug or alcohol and they are having issues with, you know, maybe mild functioning issues. Dependence is a much greater level of use where someone is actually not able to function without taking the drug or alcohol. They would have withdrawal symptoms. They would have be able to drink or use excessively without even having the same outcome that they would have had when they were using less. So dependence is almost like your world revolves around the substance. Abuse is kind of like reckless behavior, using here and there. It doesn't have the consequences that
Right, but it's still a
dependence
major
has.
issue
It
to be
is.
addressed.
It's kind of like you're on a slippery slope on your way to a dangerous place.
You know, I want, first of all, because this is so important, and I actually talk to people who have family members who have addictions, and it's so sad. It's not just for the person, it's the family member.
Right. It affects the
friends.
whole family.
So give everybody your phone number. Now, do you have a number, like a crisis number, or is there a number if people want to call and get more information?
Absolutely. We have a wonderful team of admissions folks who are around the clock answering phone calls. The number to our facility to do that is 855-730-4355. And you can also get a ton of information about all of our programs on unityrecovery.com.
On the
think that
website.
most of the calls
So
come in-
if you feel funny about calling, you could actually write.
Well, yes. Well, you can look on the website. It gives you, it helps people to kind of almost take a tour
You
of
have a
our
great
facilities.
website. There's
You do,
virtual
yeah.
tours on there.
Yeah.
It's really a great website. But I would think a lot of people would call like in the middle of the night who are having problems, not necessarily 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we do have an on-call staff, and you would, to be surprised, actually a lot of family members call for their loved ones.
I
So
can,
what are some of the signs that family and friends should look for?
Yes,
That knowing that somebody has a problem.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think
See,
it's,
all my questions are great.
your questions are great too. Don't worry, I'll give him some validation later.
He needs it.
I think that this idea of behavior change is a big deal.
Right.
So weight loss, we want to look for weight loss. We want to look for erratic sleeping patterns. We want to look for irritability or sudden or dramatic shifts in their mood. We want to look at maybe changing who they hang out with, their social group, perhaps not even being able to function in society. Maybe they're not holding their job down very well. They're not hanging out with as many people. We want to pay attention to the behavioral piece of that, as well as some of that physical stuff, vomiting, losing weight, looking really tired. You really want to pay attention to all those signs.
So if you approach a family member or a friend and you see that, how do you convince them that there is a problem and to go get help?
Well, I think it's very delicate. And my recommendation as a clinical person, as a therapist, is if you go to a place of love and concern, you have much more of a shot of getting that person to enter treatment than if you come from a place of shame and judgment. So, hey, client, Penelope, you've been doing all these terrible things. You've been stealing money. We're so disappointed in you. We can't believe you're doing this. Not going to have the same effect as these behaviors aren't who you are meant to be. We love you. We want to see you get help. We want you to take this chance. We're willing to be there for you along the way. Very different reaction.
Right. And I know people that have approached it that way and it still didn't work.
It's difficult. You have to stick with it, and I think the family needs to set boundaries. I mean, there's this idea of the family members need to say, I'm no longer going to do A, B, and C for you.
Right. So if they're living with you.
Right.
And so what do? I mean, do you throw them out if they're not willing to go into treatment? I mean, obviously you don't want to give them a roof over their head and have them steal money from you or, be doing drugs in your house or keeping drugs in your house, because then it becomes a legal issue as well.
That's right. And family members actually contribute a lot to perpetuating the addiction.
Really?
By
Wow.
engaging in behavior like that.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So you have to identify, first and foremost, get support. If you're a family member and you're someone in your family struggling with addiction, they have support groups, Al-Anon, Narcanon. There's therapists that can coach you and help you identify what are those specific things you need to do and say to your loved one to set those boundaries.
How about an intervention? Because I hear so much about that.
Yes, that's one way to seek a resource, to say, here's what I'm willing to do for you because I love you. Here's what I'm no longer willing to do for you because I love you. And that's what family members need to learn to do. It's really hard because families
it's
don't
tough
mesh.
love. It's tough love. And if you have to throw somebody out of the house
Yes.
because of an addiction and they're not willing to help themselves because they take down the whole family.
Absolutely. It's a really challenging relationship.
Very.
Very difficult.
I was actually married at one time to an ex. Well, she's probably still one. Who knows? But it was so frustrating because, first of all, I don't drink. It's funny when you don't drink. People say, "Oh, had a drinking problem." It's like, why do you have to have a drinking problem if you don't drink? I just don't drink. But it was so frustrating because I go, "Oh, you're drunk again. Wow." And that's probably not the right way to handle it, but you just get so frustrated over and over again because they don't ever get tired of drinking or doing.
Right, but what she's saying is you don't want to enable anybody.
Yes. And I think that the families need as much therapy as the person.
I
entering
agree.
I
treatment.
totally agree with
They
that.
do.
It's probably they should do seminars or something for family members. And first of all, they're usually the ones that have to get the people into a facility like Unity.
That's right. And at Unity, we recognize the real challenge that the family dynamic plays, and we offer a family weekend for families to come from wherever they are down to our facilities and spend an entire weekend learning about the disease of addiction and doing therapy and family therapy with their loved ones, because it is such a huge deal.
You went to school for that. I mean, it's probably difficult for you too, but you know what to do. I mean, the layman does not know what to do.
And because they're pulling on your heartstrings. There's an emotional connection. It's really hard to see clearly when your heart is involved. And that's why I think the best advice for families is to seek a professional resource.
Absolutely.
To know what to do.
I think also I am seeing with the way the economy is now, with relationships, all the bad news we hear all the time. I am seeing at a place that I go to services at that addiction is becoming larger and larger. People never had a problem before coping with just getting by every day. So, and it's just, it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough for someone like yourself to see this on a day and day basis and keep that positive attitude. That must be
it's
really
rewarding, I'm sure, for her to be helping people with a problem.
Well, I think what I always say to my therapist is that it's all about providing the best care that we can in the moment. If we can stay focused on being joyful about that healing process and not be so focused on the outcome because we can't control what people
Exactly.
do, then we can stay fresh and stay motivated in the field that we're in. But it's definitely difficult because you have to kind of step away sometimes and not get, engaged with the clients and where they are.
Let's
So
go
what
to,
hap-
let's go to break.
Okay, 'cause I
When
had
we come back,
so many
we've got-
questions for her.
Oh my gosh, this could be an easy 3-hour show easily, and you're doing so great.
Thank
so
you.
We will be right back with
Okay.
more addiction talk.
U.S. Mold are the area's mold and water damage experts. Unity Recovery Group specializes in helping people who are struggling with and feel trapped by the only disease that tells you you don't have one. They deliver industry-leading holistic therapies in a clean environment and help real people discover the distress and trauma contributing to their addictions. They provide powerful tools to help recovering addicts manage life challenges and win their battle with substance abuse. Many of Unity Recovery Group's clients arrive at a crossroads in their lives. Some have gone through their unsuccessful and disheartening attempts at recovery. But for all of them, Unity is a place where they can honor a promise they made to themselves to take responsibility for their futures. If you or any family member are struggling with addiction, call Unity Recovery Group at 855-730-4355 or go to their website at unityrecoveryrehab.com. Learn how to love life again without the crutch of substance abuse. No two patients' addictions are alike, so individualized treatment is crucial. Let Unity Recovery Group show you why they are one of the most trusted and caring providers of addiction recovery treatments. Call them today at 855-730-4355.
And we're back. We are here with a real trooper going through traffic on 95. We're here with Candace Rasa with, I think, is the top addiction recovery center I know throughout Florida. Without a doubt, because we knew who they were before we even had them as part of the show. And Candace is the director of Unity Sober Life Center. I love that name. I mean, that's like, it's not just a recovery center. So give everybody your phone number again.
Great. Yes. So if you or your loved one needs support with addiction, you can contact us at 855-730-4355, or you can reach out to us on the internet and check out all of our programs at unityrecovery.com.
So I have a question for you. So once they go into the recovery process, I mean, do you take them away and not have them have any contact with family or friends? Or do you have the family also involved in the recovery process?
Well, because the family is such a crucial part of the recovery process, they are definitely involved, but with lots of limitation.
Yes.
And so what that means is a therapist is actively engaged in calling the families once weekly, and most of the time with the client present, especially if they're out of state, so they can do a phone session, a therapy session. So family's definitely involved, which is a huge part of keeping them in the loop on where the clients are.
So do you have therapy sessions like in-house that they would come in to, because sometimes it's the whole dynamics of the family
Absolutely.
which affect people. So do you have sessions also that the family member would come in?
Yes, and some families come in town to visit their loved ones, and if that's the case, we can certainly arrange, and we have arranged for the actual in-office therapy session. But if they're not able to come down, we do the weekly phone session
Right,
with
and
them.
I think that's an intricate part of their recovery.
Yes.
Let's talk about relapse.
Yes.
It happens. Listen, I don't care how good a program you have. Nothing is 100%. And sometimes where I go to services, they call it backsliding. And how do you prepare the family for that?
So I have a lot of passion to talk about relapse.
You think?
Relapse is one of my favorite things to talk about because I think it's not understood well. If you think about a diet or an exercise plan or an old closet that you want to clean out or any of that stuff, and you can think about how committed you were to that, and if you had any slips, I think that most people would be hard-pressed to say they were perfect.
That's a good analogy.
Totally agree.
So relapse is the same thing. We're asking people to change their entire lives, to change the way they cope with the world and see the world, and we're asking them to do it perfectly. And that's not an expectation that's reachable for most people.
You're right.
So the family should be prepared if that should happen.
Correct. And the key is not seeing it in a shame-based way.
Exactly.
You don't love us. You don't want to be here for us. You don't care about yourself. It's what did we miss along the way? What did you miss along the way? How can we help you to take better care of yourself and do the right things so that this doesn't happen? How can we learn from this? Should be the approach.
Yeah, it's sometimes
Positive reinforcement.
exactly.
Yeah, look at you.
Look at you, okay? She's going to brag about this stuff for the next 2 years.
I'm going to find something to validate. Don't you worry. I'm sure I don't have to look far.
Please.
Okay, let me paint a picture here. Someone is listening to the show right now who has an addiction problem and has not, maybe they did the 12-step at one time and it didn't work for them. And they just feel so lonely. Right now, they're listening to the show. Talk to them.
I think you need to look in the mirror and take a look at yourself and look into your eyes and be really, really honest about where you are in your life. And to take an honest inventory and assessment of what healing needs to happen for you.
And this is a healing process.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to think about the potential. I find that most folks in addiction treatment have dreams that are completely unrealized because of the addiction. And it's often a strong motivator to get them into treatment. What do you want to do with your life? What do you really, really want for yourself? And be honest about that. Honesty is such a scary thing. Because sometimes if we see that we have a problem, we often think we are a problem. And so that's really difficult for people to wrap their heads around, which is why there's so much denial.
That's, I couldn't have said any better than that. So now once we've gotten them to call you, and I'm telling you, listen, one of the reasons why Renee and I started this show is, I mean, you can Google addiction centers, but how do you know who you're going to get? First of all, because you Google.
And you don't want to send somebody just anywhere.
No.
You want to send them to the best place.
Exactly. A place that we know about, we feel comfortable in, because we will not bring on anybody on this show that we haven't researched. And I'm telling you, Unity is, and we've known about Unity for about 6 years because we've done other things with them and that we know how you operate. And it's just such a great facility.
So why don't we also, I want to talk about the outpatient portion. So because that's the time, I mean, once they're in and they're doing the program, they're doing really well. And because we were talking about, relapse.
Yes,
So the outpatient portion of it's a really big factor as well.
absolutely.
So is it an outpatient living facility or do they go back to their normal lifestyle? So what happens once they leave the facility?
So the Sober Life Center is geared specifically towards that intensive outpatient. It's called intensive outpatient because it's 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out of the door.
Which means what?
They attend 3 days a week of therapy in our program.
How long?
For up to 30 days plus.
But how is that, an hour, 2 hours?
It's 3.5 hours every night. So it's about 9+ hours a week of therapy.
And what happens if they have a job? Say they leave the facility and they get their life back in order and they're working, but they need to maintain
Sure.
the therapy.
Yeah, so because it's the IOP program, so the IOP is intensive outpatient therapy, is from 5 to 8:30. Many folks can work on weekends or mornings or afternoons and on off days.
Right, so they'll have to base their schedule around that.
Correct. We do have a transitional housing component, so that means clients can live there, and then we transport and support them in engaging in our IOP program.
Which is wonderful.
Yes.
So you don't have to be scared that if you're in the facility that you're going to leave, and because then you go back to the same element of
Exactly.
friends and you're going back to the same life.
Exactly. So we actually have a place for them to live that's a sober community that we have some monitoring on, and we kind of have 24-hour staff there.
How long can they live there?
They can live there. Most clients do 30 to 45 days, but anyone can do more than that if they want to self-pay. Most insurance covers 30 to 45.
I was just about to ask you that.
Yeah.
Can you believe how fast this has gone? I mean, we're like towards the end of the show. I want to make sure we give your website, which
And
is
your phone number once again.
www.unityrehab.com. Give them your phone number again.
Our number is 855-730-4355.
And your address. Do you have your address or your location?
I do. So our main administrative offices are currently at 618 US Highway 1, North Palm Beach.
Wonderful.
This is
Perfect.
Unity Recovery Center. A good friend to the show. Thank you, Candace, for
Thank
coming
you so
on
much,
today.
Candace, for today.
What a trooper. I mean,
Thank
and
you,
she did
Steve.
such a great job, and you will be back next month.
Okay.
Let's go to break. When we come back, we have one of the top criminal attorneys in Florida,
Michael Leader.
Michael
from
Leader,
Leader
and Leader. We will be right back.
Unity Recovery Group specializes in helping people who are struggling with and feel trapped by the only disease that tells you you don't have one. They deliver industry-leading holistic therapies in a clean environment and help real people discover the distress and trauma contributing to their addictions. They provide powerful tools to help recovering addicts manage life challenges and win their battle with substance abuse.